Hey guys, this week's podcast features Kerry Quaile, the bar manager at Vera Pizzeria. Kerry came down, talked about her new role as bar manager, bar nightmares, and plans for the fall. Let's get to it.
When I did the other Vera podcast, like a year ago, I guess now, it was right after Tales of the Cocktail. And we're kind of actually almost a full year.
Almost a month out now.
Yeah.
I actually, I had lunch earlier, or not lunch, I had a beer. Technically lunch with Tim Stevens and his wife Morgan that I went down there with actually earlier today.
And you guys are reminiscing of your trip?
We were. It was really intense.
So, for people who might not know, like Tales of the Cocktail is like the big. I want to say it's like a convention.
It's a conference.
Okay, yeah, it's a conference.
I would like to refer to it as a conference. It's literally so.
It sounds more professional.
Well, first of all, I have never been to New Orleans before.
Okay.
A city where on Wednesdays it's okay for people to pass out face down in the street.
Amen.
But imagine that.
Yeah.
Invaded by 20,000 worldwide bartenders for an entire week.
So
and not just bartenders, cocktail nerds.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for their bartenders every week. You know, like that one week.
Oh, like you're talking about like the bars around New Orleans? Like
I feel so bad for them because they just get invaded by like, make me this fucking cocktail that's like 1,000 years old immediately on the spot, and I'm gonna judge you so hard.
Exactly, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, most of us just drank beer at the end of the night. But their bars never close.
That's amazing.
You know, I was at most of them until 7 a.m.
All for like the good, like, you know, furthering your development as a bartender.
I cannot even stress to you how many people I met that were just, and that was the best part of the whole thing. Is like the classes were amazing. There was one that stuck with me the most.
Yeah,
but
what was that?
The meeting of people was amazing. The class was it was the one that I stressed the most in my whole signing up for this entire event. It was a class with Dushan Zarek, who is one of the owners of Employees Only. Jim Meehan, who owns PDT in New York, and Simon Ford, who is one of the owners of 86 Company.
Wow, it's an all-star cast there.
It was very intimidating. But it was all about hiring a family.
Okay.
Instead of hiring a staff.
That makes sense.
And building a team that really has each other's backs and just making your place, you know, just approachable and work. And and the first part of it, honestly, it was very much about statistics and numbers and how many places fail, especially like in a huge city like New York. You know, they were using a lot of like references about Employees Only because this is actually going to be their 10-year anniversary.
Wow, they've really been around 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Which
is amazing to me, especially in that space where it's not that big, honestly. But it just, that class stuck with me so much.
Yeah.
And it was really, really important, especially now that I've taken over Vera. Yeah. And I'm managing that place. It's, you know, it's like...
It's a whole different role.
Oh my God, it's insane. It's insane. It's exhilarating, frustrating, and amazing all at the same time.
Yeah.
And... Yeah. But I just... When I came back, you know, it's like I just really... My staff is they're my family. And they mean so much to me. And I just really took that class to heart and was like, oh shit, you know, I really need to treat this differently, especially going into a managerial role. Yeah. Because I left for Tales, like 3 weeks after I started managing. And it was a big transition. It was a really big transition.
That's good. Well, that's kind of neat. I mean, because the one thing about Vera I've always noticed is that the staff, it definitely always seems like they have a family mentality, or at least I've noticed that, like, that was a very important thing, and that, like, you know, you guys and Cam and Jess and John and everybody, like, it just seemed like everybody was, I mean, every time I would see just pictures all the time of like everyone hugging each other. I was like,
I love them. You know, I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah. And you spend so much time with these people. I mean, not only is Vera pretty small, so that you can't really be by yourself.
We basically have about a 20-person staff.
Yeah.
Which is amazing as far as like getting to know people and being really close, but at the same time really hard if you want to take a day off. I mean, I will retell the story until the day that I die.
Yeah.
But when I started working there, I've never worked so hard in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. I started out there as a prep guy and a barback.
Okay.
As everyone does when they start there. And I will say, since we have more people working there now than when we started, it was the most grueling 3 months of my life.
Yeah. Like, what kind of stuff were you doing? Like, just like juices and things like that? When we
started, it was Cameron was barbacking, John and Marshall Cameron was bartending.
Yeah.
John and Marshall were bartending, and it was Dave and I barbacking and doing prep.
Yeah.
And for the first month, I want to say, it was basically just John and Marshall.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have the hiccups.
That's right.
And they were there like 24 hours a day almost.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even count how many times like Marshall fell asleep at the restaurant, which I have done many a time just because of exhaustion. But when I came in to work there, it was like maybe 3 weeks after they opened.
Okay.
And I was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I was never guaranteed a job.
Yeah.
It was like, you earn this, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to like what it seems like the apprentice program at like EO and things like that.
Theirs is a lot more intense.
Well, yeah. I think like at those...
But I very, very much respect that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like everyone... I don't give a shit. Yeah. If you have been bartending for 50 years, you're going to start where everyone else has... So that you... It's honestly like in my head, it's like you have common ground.
Mm-hmm.
You have common ground. You know where those people have been. You know what they do every day when they come in.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of grueling, monotonous juicing. And like, not only juices, but syrups. You know, you're working with hot stuff. And you're restocking the bar. It's a ton of attention to detail.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, you guys are open from 4 to...
We're open up from 5 to close.
5 to 2-ish.
Yeah.
And, but, like, your day starts way before 5 o'clock.
Will Emerson is my right-hand man. Honestly, I don't know what I would do without him.
Yeah.
He gets there around 10 in the morning, and that's his schedule.
Yeah.
When I used to prep, I would get there around noon.
Yeah.
But I would prep noon to 3:30.
Okay.
And then go to lunch and come back and bar back from open till close.
Wow.
So, you know, that's giving you a 15-hour day, basically. And I did that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for 3 months. Nice. And then I started bartending. And I was still, even when I was bartending, I was still prepping for a while.
Yeah.
But I can honestly tell you, I don't know what it is, if I'm just a weirdo and I love working, or if there's something wrong with me. But I would wake up on a Tuesday, and I knew I had one day left, and I would be the happiest person ever. And just like, my body hurt, I was exhausted, I was probably hungover.
Yeah.
But I was so excited to go back in there.
Nice.
And it's like, I've never felt like that before in my life, and that's what makes me honestly want to open my own place and give that to the people that I serve. Mm-hmm. I want my staff to feel that way.
Nice.
They're amazing. Yeah. They work so hard.
Yeah. I think anybody who goes there, they can see that's like a really intense operation.
I always have the conversation, you know, it's like, I'm a bartender. I will never, ever refer to myself as a mixologist or anything like that. I'm a bartender who makes craft cocktails. Yeah. And I love it. Okay. I love that for the same reason that I love what I went to college for, honestly. Yeah. I went to college for art history and metalsmithing. And I love the fact that art connects every facet of life. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, like art history especially. Mm-hmm. And throughout every time period. Mm-hmm. Craft cocktails do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I get asked, especially at Vera, people are like, what's your crowd here? Who comes here? And I'm like, actually, we have like all walks of life.
It's very eclectic. It's a very wide range of people. There's moms from the burbs. Mm-hmm. There's hipsters from the west side. Like, it really covers all genre.
My favorite days there are getting to serve people who have never had a craft cocktail in their life.
Yeah.
And 80-year-old dudes that are like, I want my Manhattan this way. And I'm like, okay, I'll make it for you this way. But your second one, let me make you like a real Manhattan.
Nice.
Like, let me do that. Let me earn your trust.
Uh-huh.
Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite days because I get to serve someone that has never experienced this in their life, and I get to have people who have had their Manhattans butchered over the years and get to show them something that they used to have when they were like kids.
Exactly.
It's like, it's so exciting.
Do you still get a lot of those experiences? Like, you guys are coming up on your 2-year probably, right?
It'll be 2 years next month on the 15th.
That's awesome. So you're still getting people who are still the first time?
And that's my favorite thing ever. It's like new clientele is awesome. We had a Saturday, I want to say like a month ago, where I don't know if they shut down Chippewa or what happened, but 85% of the people in there,
it was
their first time. I had never seen them before. And I was like, it was really disconcerting in a way, but at the same time, it was really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like, I get to expose all of you to my, like, my rule of this bar. It's awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
It was really exciting. It was a good Saturday. It was really fun. I got a lot of people to try stuff that they never would have tried before and actually, like, enjoy it.
That probably makes things... It makes things more exciting, and it changes your routine. It's fun to have, regulars who come in all the time, but...
It's also really challenging at the same time, because they're like, whatever, your menu's bullshit. Give me a goose on the rocks, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have that.
Are there really still people who are ordering,
God,
Cosmopolitans and things like that?
Okay, let me stick up for the Cosmo a little bit.
Okay.
If you make a Cosmo with fresh ingredients, it's a really delicious cocktail.
Yeah.
It's well balanced. Mm-hmm. It definitely has a bad reputation over the years.
Sex and the City did not help.
No, and it's way too pink in that show. I have watched it. Don't get me wrong. I kind of love that show. It's a guilty pleasure.
I'm not here to judge.
But in its inception, that's a really well balanced cocktail. Yeah. And it was meant to showcase a product. Yeah. Which it definitely did. We don't have infused not even infused. We don't have flavored vodka at Vera, but I'll make it with a splash of lemon. Mm-hmm. And it's really good. And I will serve them all day long. We were a little bit snooty when we opened up.
Yeah. Like, oh, you can go somewhere else for that drink. Like that kind of thing? Or
not that far.
Okay.
But when we first opened, you've read the back of our menu. Mm-hmm. It basically says if you want a slippery nipple, you can go fuck yourself. Not to that point, but...
Not literally.
Not literally.
But that's the emotion that's involved, yeah.
And also we don't even have the stuff to make that.
Yeah.
But at this point...
You don't have, bachelorettes coming in asking for, blowjob shots or some stupid...
I remember one night, actually, that John, when he was still working with us, got asked for... I want to say it was, a buttery nipple or something. Nice. And he laughed. He laughed because he thought the guy was joking.
Nice.
But then he was serious. And we're like, oh, sorry. I didn't know you were serious. My bad.
Oh, it's not like you guys have people walking around with test tube shots and those little things. And,
no,
it's not that vibe, but that's kind of funny.
It was a funny night.
So you started, like you said, really early into Vera, pretty much at the beginning.
Yeah. I met Cam and John and Jess, and Marshall when I worked at Faraday's, actually.
Okay.
Almost 3 years ago. Well. a little over 3 years ago now.
Was that your first entrance into the world of bartending?
It was.
Yeah.
And I lied my way through the whole thing.
Like telling them like you had like previous experience. Because you're not from Buffalo, correct? I'm
from Philly originally.
Yeah. So you just lie and be like, oh yeah, bartend at these places in Philly? Like...
No, I went to college here.
Okay.
I was still in college when I was working at Farady's, but I actually, Fred Marshall, who works at DBGB.
Okay.
You know how they do their like guest bartending at Farady's?
Yeah.
Every Tuesday? Mm-hmm. I trained him at Spot when I was very young.
Okay.
And he recommended me to Marshall Shuttle and said, hey, like this chick should bartend for you for a guest bartending spot. And Marshall got my number, texted me, asked me to come in. I came in, I brought a bunch of people.
Yeah, which I think is one of the key things in Buffalo.
Yeah, I like made like a Facebook event. I was like, everyone come see me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Watch me hopefully not crash and burn.
I literally had bartended one night before that once in my life.
Yeah.
At Merge when I worked there.
Okay.
And it was just beer and wine.
Yeah. Also, I feel like Farady's, you're not going to get a lot of fancy
You get some dumb things. Like, make me a marijuana shot. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. If you give me the recipe, I'll make it. It's green.
That makes me mad, but that's a thing.
Other than that, it's mostly like gin and tonic. You know, it's a shot beer bar.
I've been at Farady's. I understand the selection.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is what it is.
Slim.
So that was your like.
That was my first bartending.
You're coming
experience.
out of a bartender.
And I kind of feel bad now, but the next day I just like harangued Nick Catrides.
Okay.
And I was like, actually, and I cannot even believe that I said this to him ever. But you know, we live in Buffalo. Most of the bartenders, quote unquote, here, you know, they're big boobs. You know, like
we've all been to Chippewa.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm a tiny little brunette with a loud mouth.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So I told Nick, I was like, look, I don't have big boobs, but I have a big personality. And I literally said that to him. And he was like, okay, you start this weekend. He gave me Fridays and Saturdays off the bat.
Wow.
I was the only chick that worked there.
Wow.
And I had Tuesdays during the day. My first shift there ever was a Sabres playoff game against the Flyers.
God help
which
you.
I was like, yeah, Philly, sweet. And I worked like a 13-hour shift.
Yeah.
I started at 5 and I ended at 4. So
yeah.
11.
Whatever. Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
And that was my first bartending shift ever.
Wow. That's like really getting thrown into the fire there.
I love it.
Yeah?
That's how I learn best.
Mm-hmm. Just like overwhelmed, just...
But I literally only worked... I worked at Farady's for maybe 5-6 months. Before I moved back to Philly.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
I came back to Buffalo to work at Vera.
I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, I moved down to Philly to work for a jeweler.
Okay. Hence your degree.
Yeah. It didn't work out, and I didn't have any money, and Cameron literally called me the next day and was like, hey, do you want to come work here?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely. You know, I was dating someone here at the time, so I was back and forth, and I had kind of like seen Vera like start to be and start to like exist and grow, and you know, they had been doing a ton of remodeling and the build out and everything.
Yeah, that took a while. That was a pretty good process.
And I really, you know, the energy in there was always so safe for me. Nice. It was really, really comforting. And I was like, okay, this is a place that I could work. Yeah. And I was never, well, according to John, I was never guaranteed a job there. But I worked my ass off. Yeah. When I first came back.
I don't doubt that. So, like, as this is happening, when does your interest in craft cocktails begin?
It was funny before I moved back to Philly.
Yeah.
You know, Cam and John both had been very interested in cocktails. I love drinking, so why wouldn't I be interested in cocktails? But Jon had been having small parties at his house, just making cocktails there.
Yeah.
He was starting to do some stuff at Farady's, trying to do that. Cam had been making some stuff at Toro when he worked there.
Yeah.
That was my first really introduction to it. Living in Philly, I got a little bit more of an introduction as far as like tasting things and going to different bars. And then when I found out that I was going to go back to Buffalo, there was like a little interim period where I wasn't working and I was like waiting to move back to Buffalo, like saving up money. And I got a bunch of books and I really started like getting into it. And
wow.
I will tell every single person this, and I don't care if I sound like a nerd, but I will tell every person that ever works for me.
Okay.
My favorite cocktail book ever, not only for recipes, because recipes are like tertiary completely.
Yeah, anybody can Google a recipe.
My favorite book is Speakeasy by the guys from EO. To be completely honest, it's the first cocktail book I ever read.
Okay.
Totally randomly. Not even, I didn't know what Employees Only was. I'd never been there.
Yeah. Was it one of those things where you just like Googled like cocktail book?
No, actually, Jon had it
for
a long time, and that was the first one that I had ever seen.
Wow.
But my favorite thing about that book is not the recipes. It's the why.
Yeah.
It's the reasons that you do certain things in order to create cocktails.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, it's not only technique, but it's why their technique is better and makes more sense. And that's the stuff that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So did you just completely dive head first? Like, were you just consuming as much knowledge as possible?
I was trying to.
Yeah.
I was really trying to. Doing is what I do best.
Okay.
So actually making drinks and failing horribly and like, jiggering everything and being in the weeds and being on service end and having things sent back. Like, those are my best moments. Those are the moments that made me how I am right now.
Yeah.
Those are made me the bar manager in 2 years, which is terrifying. But seriously, I mean, I sucked.
Your first couple.
It took me maybe a month straight to figure out how to break a seal properly. What
does break a seal mean?
So when I'm making a shaken drink, we have cheater shakers, so they're not a full Boston shaker. It doesn't have a glass on the top. It has two metal pieces.
Yes.
You have to hit it on the top so that it makes the quote-unquote magic seal. So you can pick it up from the top and it won't break.
Oh.
That's how you shake it, 2 hands without it exploding, basically, all over everyone.
Yeah.
And I would hit it really hard, but then I wouldn't be able to undo the magic seal.
Yeah.
And it took me like a straight month in front of like customers, in front of my fellow bartenders, and it was like my palm was just bruised, like just for a month straight.
How long did it take you to like build up like the arm for like shaking?
It actually was a lot faster because I was doing prep. When I started doing prep, we had a hand juicer.
Oh.
We didn't have any kind of like, we have a huge like sun-kissed one now that's like a rotary. It's awesome. But like I want all the guys to be like, this is what I did. I want to show them like, this is what I did when I started. But I'm very glad that they have that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot faster.
Yeah. So, but that like built up some arm.
At least in my right arm, yeah. I was like, constantly like juicing every day.
Yeah. Because I mean, you like you guys don't like bullshit. Like if you're shaking a drink, like you guys shake the shit out of it. Like that's like. I'm
gonna tell you a really cheesy quote right now.
Okay.
But Harry Craddock.
Okay.
Of the Savoy Cocktail book. His I want to say most famous quote is, "You shake a drink to wake it up, not to rock it to sleep."
Nice.
And I live by that.
That's your personal mantra.
I have actually injured myself shaking things.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or reaching, offhandedly. I dislocated my shoulder like a couple months ago.
I think I was at Vera once when you were in...
You were there the night that I broke my finger.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Jesus.
Yeah. Honestly, I talk to our barbacks about this all the time. We have the injury list of like a pro sports team.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
I guess I don't know. I mean, it means that you guys are serious, but Jesus, like that.
It's hard. It's a lot of it's labor. It's physical labor. But it feels so good at the end of the night when you're done and you're like, I made all of these people so happy. Mm-hmm. For a couple weeks, I was doing these little trainings on Sundays, just talking.
Yeah.
Not actually physically making drinks, but my favorite question to ask everyone is, why do you go out? Mm-hmm. Like, if I asked you that, what would you...
Why do I go out?
Yeah.
Probably to relax if I'm going out.
It's very different for everybody.
It's to decompress when I'm going out.
My answer, always, especially from a service industry kind of standpoint, is people go out to experience something that they can't have at home. Mm-hmm. Not just, like, anybody can make the drinks that I make at Vera at home. Yeah. If you Google a recipe, if you get the right ingredients, anybody can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You go out, or I go out anyway, because I can only technically speak for myself. I go out to experience something that I can't have at home. Yeah. Whether it's people or a feeling of the place that I'm going to. Yeah. Or just an experience in general. It's like, that's why I go out. Yeah. I go out to feel good and have an experience that I couldn't do at my house.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the thing that, like, cocktails are to me, anyway, they're so personal. Mm-hmm. There's this really, and I feel bad, I can never remember his name ever, but there's this Japanese cocktail bartender who wrote this book, and my favorite part of the entire book is he talks about that there are 4 recipes to every cocktail. There's the classic, like the original. Yeah. There's the new standard. Mm-hmm. There's the bartender's interpretation. Okay. And there is the customer's interpretation. Or what you should make for the customer's interpretation.
Interesting.
Obviously, if you think about it in like a customer service standpoint, the customer's interpretation is going to be the right way every way. Yeah. Because, like, even a standard that I make every single day, I'm going to tweak for the person that's in front of me.
But how do you know how to tweak it?
You can just tell. It's really weird. Especially, like, at Vera. Yeah. I try to get a read on everybody that walks through the door. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If a girl walks in and says, I want a vodka drink, but make it sweet, it's like, I know she doesn't want it to taste like...
She wants 0 alcohol.
Well, she doesn't want it to taste like alcohol, but I know that if I make it super sweet, she's not going to drink the whole thing. Yeah. Because... And I read way too much. I'm, like, quoting everyone right now.
Don't worry. I'm sorry. We're going to have a list, like a Amazon, like, wish list that I'm going to post with this so people can buy
Seriously. So, Malcolm Gladwell.
I love Malcolm Gladwell.
He's coming to Buffalo in November to speak. I just bought tickets.
I got to get on that.
It's not that expensive.
All right, good. Is it UB? Is he going?
Yes.
Okay.
He talks about the Pepsi Coke challenge. Mm-hmm. In one of his books, which I can't remember the name of right now. I can't remember.
Might be Blink.
I think it's either Blink or.
Because I thought about it. Wasn't it like how you have to
or Bounce? Is it Bounce?
I haven't read Bounce. I've only read Blink and Outliers, which are both fantastic.
Outliers is one of my favorite books ever. Yeah. He talks about the Pepsi Coke challenge.
Yeah.
And how Pepsi won on sip, like just the taste.
Yeah.
But Coke, so when they won that, Coke changed their entire recipe.
Yeah.
And like no one bought Coke.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. The new Coke or whatever it was. Yeah.
But the take-home test, where Coke would send like a bottle home, people would finish the entire bottle and they wouldn't finish the Pepsi.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with drinks. The first sip is usually, if it's perfect on the first sip or sweet, you won't finish the drink.
Okay.
If it's a little bit sour by the end of the drink, throughout the course of you drinking it, throughout the dilution with water, like everything.
Yeah, your palate kind of getting adjusted to it.
You'll finish it, and it'll be delicious. Like, it's weird. I spend so much of my life, honestly, thinking about frozen water. It's ridiculous. I really do.
How often are you looking into ice cubes? Like
every day.
Yeah?
Every day.
Do you dream of owning the circle?
Do you want to hear about bar mares, as I like to refer to them?
Oh, what is bar mares?
Bar nightmares.
Bar nightmares. Okay, I should have put that together. Yes, I do want to hear about bar nightmares.
Seriously. I want everyone to start a blog about their bar nightmares, because there are, I will reference 2 that have stuck with me over the last 2 years.
So these are literal nightmares that you have had.
Yes.
After working.
Yes.
Or it has to be after, but yeah.
So you know how busy Vera is on the weekends.
Yeah. It can get a couple deep.
It's very, very hard to take yourself out of that immediately afterwards when you're going to bed, especially if you're intoxicated in any way. So I talk to people in the service industry about this all the time. I have nightmares where I am still at Vera and I can't I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, I have to move the bitters. Like seriously.
That's amazing.
It's fucked up.
No, I mean it shows how committed you are to it, and how much this is a part of your life. This isn't a fucking job. This is what you are passionate about.
It's definitely my life.
I'm sure there's plenty of chefs who probably have similar nightmares where
I'm sure that Ed has chef dreams.
I'm sure he does.
My 2 favorite ones, if you don't mind me telling
please.
you, are, so the first one that I vividly remember is, it was like right after I started bartending, full bartending, like I don't know, 3 nights a week, and I had this dream that Vera was a hotel, and it was like this swanky hotel with like columns and everything was white, and there were like Persian rugs on the floor. It was like gorgeous. And I went into work, and like Jon was working in the main bar, which was in this big like ballroom upstairs. And he was like, okay, you're going to be working downstairs tonight. I go, okay. So I go downstairs, and it's Vera's basement, which no one really knows that doesn't work there, but Vera's basement is literally like a dungeon.
I've never
It's hard
seen
to
it.
stand up in there.
That's amazing.
Fully. So I'm bartending this swanky hotel bar in Vera's basement, and it's like there's no lights. Nothing is stocked. There's no fresh ingredients, and there's like 100 people down there, and it's just me. And everyone is, I don't know why, but Bloody Marys are like my, like, they like kill me. They are my nightmare, literally. Every time I have a nightmare about bars, it's about Bloody Marys.
I have a weird feeling about Bloody Marys, but we'll get into it later. But it's just, I think some of them are ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there does not need to be...
I literally heard someone ask someone at Blue Monk a couple weeks ago if there was meat in their drink, and there was.
It makes...
Which, don't get me wrong, I love meat, especially if it's in a drink, but... Bloody Marys are kind of terrifying sometimes.
I don't want to have a Bloody Mary that looks like it could also be at the fair because of how ridiculous it is.
No. You don't want a corn dog in your drink.
Exactly, right? Seriously. Anyways, so you're making Bloody Marys. You're in the basement.
I'm making Bloody Marys. Nothing is fresh. I don't have any ingredients. There's like no tomato juice. Finally, I close down the bar. I get so frustrated. I close down the bar downstairs. I go upstairs, and John is like, "You're fired. You suck." And I was like, "Ah, God, I'm an awful bartender. Like, this is awful." And I wake up, and that was the first one.
Yeah.
The second one was worse. Honestly.
Okay.
And these are the two that I remember the most.
They just like really stuck with you.
They really stuck with me because they were so terrifying. The second one, I was bartending with Kelly, who is one of our servers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't bartend.
Yeah.
So it was really weird, first of all. And, it's like a weekend night. We're 5 deep.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, someone had built some sort of weird wooden structure in the middle of the bar so that every time I tried to go over to the service station, I had to crawl underneath it.
That makes sense.
I have no idea. No idea. And I'm trying to make like 17 drinks. Every single time I pick up a glass, it explodes in my hand. I can't pick up any glasses. They're just exploding every single time I pick one up. And I was like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't make a drink. I can't serve any of these people. Like, it was terrifying.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty intense. I would also be terrified of glass exploding in my hand.
Exactly. But it wasn't like hurting me or anything, but it was just like blowing up. Like, I couldn't pick up a glass. It was awful.
Have you like decided like to try to like Google these things and like figure out like what does
I've
this
given
mean?
up at this point. I've given up. I'm not looking into it. I'm not doing research.
Have the bar nightmares subsided over time, or have like because now you got this? You're the manager.
Yeah, which is
that probably is a whole nother ball of
wax.
Yeah, that's just a lot more coming at you.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've they did subside for a while, and then now that I've actually been working about 60 hours a week, like they're back for sure. They're different though. Yeah, I haven't
kind of like different issues now, I guess.
Yeah,
because it's probably less about you making drinks, because you're probably pretty confident that you can make drinks in a high.
Yes,
it's the other stuff.
It's the training of people, staffing. Making sure everybody's okay all the time.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that stresses me out because it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
It's are you okay? How's your day? And I honestly like it's kind of awesome. I've made a very conscious effort to like text everyone that I know is working that day and be like, "Hey, I love you. Have a great shift." Like seriously.
That's a good way to do
it. Because honestly, I would like to get that text. Mm-hmm. I really would. So I'm just like, I love you guys. I hope you have a great shift. Do it good. Like I don't know. I just
a little pep talk. Not even just a little daily like mantra. Like
I want them to know that I care. Mm-hmm. I really do.
That's cute.
It means a lot to me. I don't know. I feel like it's weird coming from like a female standpoint. Of managing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lot of, like, female managers of bars.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot of female, like, a lot of things.
Oh, trust me. I've had this conversation. I was actually down in New York a couple, like, maybe 2 months ago now, and one of my friends was like, "Do you guys have a chapter of Lupac in upstate?" And I was like, "No, it's just me." It's literally, if I had one, I would talk to myself in a room. Lupac is this amazing chapter of just female bartenders.
Oh, okay. I feel like if you got all the female bartenders, it would be
Sarah
Chippewa ladies.
Actually. They do craft cocktails.
Oh, okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
So it would be me. Sarah, I guess, who just got inducted into bartending at Revelry, which I'm very, very proud of her for.
I met her at Inn.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She's very, very nice.
And who else? This one wonderful girl that works at Cure in Rochester.
Wow.
It's us three. And LUPEC, by the way, stands for Ladies United for the Preservation of Endangered Cocktails.
You totally did not just Google that.
I did. Because I can never, ever, ever remember exactly what it stands for, and I did not want to misquote.
I appreciate that.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
So
you guys gonna put a regional?
I would really like to. Tim Stevens, who just moved back from San Diego, he opened up 7 Grand there and worked in San Diego for a while. He's from Buffalo originally. We're a little bit working on starting to form a bartenders guild here, but we need 60 signatures, which is way more than the bartenders that we have here doing craft cocktails.
Yeah, I don't even know how many there are, but it's definitely not over 20.
No. So I think we're gonna do a Western New York one.
Nice. That'd be pretty sweet.
It'll be really fun if it ends up happening, which I would love.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for a long time.
You kind of got a lot of things on your...
I've got a lot of things going on.
I mean, so right after you took over, you pretty much unveiled the summer menu, a couple weeks after? Mm-hmm. How much is that mostly your menu? Or?
Yeah, there's a few classics on there right now. The gazpacho is John's, and him and I worked together on the God Particle. Okay. But most of it's mine.
Nice.
I'm very, very proud of that menu.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it. I never, ever am one to want to toot my own horn, but I'm really...
You can toot it right now.
I'm really, really proud of that menu. It makes me very happy, and it's gone over really well.
Good.
I actually just started working on the fall menu a couple days ago.
When you were putting it together, is there some of them on there that you're I'm gonna step out. I think maybe people will get this. Some that you in your head you're
the fact that I have gotten Buffalo to guzzle down mezcal is mind blowing. It is mind blowing. Literally, I cannot even comprehend that fact because the God Particle has been selling off the charts.
First of all, it's a great name.
Thank you. That was my contribution to that cocktail.
It's a really great name.
Thank you.
And it's a very good drink as well.
Originally, it was supposed to be called Higgs Boson, but I think that's really hard to say when you're drunk.
Yeah.
And not fun to yell across the bar on a Saturday night.
No. And I think I don't want to have disrespect for people. I don't know how many people know about the Higgs boson.
That's okay, because the people it's the same thing with the Red Wedding, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not everybody watches Game of Thrones, but the people that do get it, they really love it, and they honestly order from the name. It is a great cocktail.
So how long did it take for you for those drinks to come to be from start to finish? Or some you hit it really quick, or in some it takes you 6 months?
Between you and I and everyone that's going to listen to this this conversation, some of them were very easy. Mm-hmm. The first light, I knew in my head would work. But I didn't make it until the day that the menu came out.
Wow, that's ballsy.
I knew it would work.
Yeah.
But I did not make it until the day the menu came out.
And it worked out.
It's delicious. I love that cocktail.
Yeah. I feel like you put enough hours in, you can kind of know how things are going to taste together.
Over the last 2 years, I've gotten a lot better at figuring out what likes each other. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a cocktail on the fall menu that is very, very strange on paper, but really, really works.
I'm going to ask you what that is after we're done.
Okay. I can actually tell you. I can tell you about it. We used it for the Aperol party last week.
Oh, okay.
It's called Applied Science.
All right. I like the name.
It's a good name. Mm-hmm. It makes more sense to me because it doesn't make sense on paper, which I love. But it's going to be gin, Aperol, lime, maple syrup, and 2 dashes of black walnut bitters.
Wow.
And it totally sounds like it would be disgusting, right?
Kind of. I mean, I'm a huge Aperol fan, at least now, since I was just in Venice and became addicted to Aperol spritzers. But the maple syrup part sounds interesting.
Right? So, and this is a totally weird reference, but when I worked at Merge, they make a lot of like limeades, lemonades from scratch.
Yeah.
We used to use maple syrup in the limeade all the time. They love each other. It's delicious.
Interesting.
And I made a special like 5 cocktail menu for the Aperol party that we had last week, and I was screwing around with some recipes, and I was like, all right, well, what's the only base spirit that I don't have yet? It was gin.
Yeah.
So I was trying to make like a gin sour with Aperol. I was like, screwing around with the sweetening ingredients, like screwing around with the fresh ingredients. I was like, why don't I just use maple and lime?
Yeah.
Make it kind of fall flavored.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing. It's so good.
Where does this R&D happen? In your like apartment, or you do this at work? Like,
I do it
before?
at work when I'm working. I do it at my house. This particular one I did actually at Revelry. I went out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, John, make me this cocktail. Do this and put this many things in it.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my god, okay, sweet, this is perfect. Yeah, my mom came into town actually, and I took her out there. She met me halfway, so we were screwing around with drinks. So it was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a very strange process to try to figure out like what works and what people will like.
Yeah, and what you think is really awesome.
And what I like, because I drink cocktails all the time. I'm not necessarily gonna like everything that everyone else likes.
Yeah. How do you have like a big moleskin of just like,
oh my god,
or of just like scribbles of like ideas and things like that?
Yeah, I hope at some point that we write a book, because I have almost every single special we've ever done written down.
I think people would be really interested in something like that.
I would like to do one just for Buffalo, honestly.
Yeah.
This guy in New Orleans actually handed me a book. He's like, here, I made this myself. I had a great photographer. Here are all of my drinks. Wow. And I was like, the book is gorgeous. Yeah. It's called Aphrodisiacs. Okay. The photography is amazing. Nice. And it blew my mind. I was like, seriously, like, I want to put out a book. Yeah. It would be fantastic. Yeah. I just put out a bigger book.
So you'd always keep all of your notes, basically?
I have a couple notebooks.
That's pretty awesome. Sure.
I have a large bar and a couple notebooks.
When I had Tony down here, he mentioned that he has all these books that he's had over all the years. Yeah. And he'll just flip through them sometimes just to get like ideas of like old stuff.
It's fun. Yeah. And there's a lot of shit that you look in there and you're like, oh my god, what was I thinking?
I think everyone has that about everything from
But for the most part, you're like, oh my god, I remember this, you know? Like, yeah. It's great.
That's pretty cool.
It's refreshing, too, to remember, when Vera was, like, in its infantile stage, and we had no booze on the back bar as far as, like, anything. Yeah. And now I have, like, no room. And I'm telling my reps, I'm like, I have to get rid of all this stuff before I order anything from you.
Yeah, you guys have a lot, like, a wide selection, too. It's not like you just have, like, 40 bottles of SoCo. Like, you have, like...
We have 13 distributors. Wow. That we order from.
Damn.
It's a lot. And keep in mind that one of them, we only order wine from one person. Okay. We have 2 beer distributors. So the rest of that is all liquor.
Wow. That's serious.
It's a lot of booze.
I think we pretty much kind of touched on everything I wanted to talk about. What do you want to do going forward? You have obviously a fall menu coming up.
I do have a fall menu coming up.
Is there other things that you want to see maybe you get into, or things that you want to work on yourself? Or
I honestly, like, for this upcoming year, I am very much looking forward to getting more inspired. I've had a lot of offers to do some more distillery tours.
Oh, nice.
Which I am completely gonna jump on because I love traveling.
Yeah, you're always every other month or at least week. There's like you in a plane going somewhere or on a train or something.
Going somewhere. Yeah. I'm actually going to New York tomorrow.
Yeah,
which I'm very excited about. yeah, I want to get more inspiration. I'm never, ever the person to think that I know the most.
Okay.
Which has helped me a lot in life.
Yeah, of course.
And I know that traveling and meeting new people and being inspired by other people's inspirations is going to be my best asset in life. And I really want to be inspired by what other people are excited about.
Yeah.
Other people being excited about things is like, it makes my day, honestly. Yeah. Like, I can, and this is totally off the cuff, but like coming from that wedding earlier, two of my best friends, like, who I've known for 7 years now, got married, and seeing them being so excited, it's like, that made my day. Yeah. I want to give that to other people. Yeah. I want to feel that from other people who want to give it to me. You know, it's like, it's a whole chain. It's just that's what makes life worth living to me, honestly. That's what makes cocktails so good. If you put your full love and enjoyment and care into a drink and serve it to someone and say, you know, like, I made this for you, that's all that matters. Yeah. They feel that. Yeah. Your drink is going to taste so much better because of that.
I believe that.
That's what cocktails are all about.
Yeah. That's why I love, you know, what you guys do and what Tony does. Like, I feel like there's a passion and, like you guys enjoy what you're doing and it's fun to see that. And it tastes good.
I hope so.
No, it does. It's really cool. And that's, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to have you down here, just because you guys are doing a kick-ass job. And I know you've taken on a lot in the last, like, couple months, and you're doing a hell of a job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Well, thank you for coming down here. This was really fun.
Yeah. This was fun. I love talking about this stuff. It's exciting.